Hey, what is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode of the Gentleman Pursuits podcast. My name is Ryan. How's everyone doing today? Is such a nice day here in Vancouver, and can't wait to go outside and take a walk later. Just absorbing the positive energy the nature is giving out. And one thing about this week that happened, I mean, the last week that happened was that the first episode with Gentleman's Discourse was out. My friend Josh and I worked really hard on this series, and it's finally out. And it's out on YouTube, and I'm really liking the performance of it, although it's not, big numbers, but so far the feedback and comments I've gotten are mainly positive. I mean, it's after all the first episode we've done, so I'm not complaining. I think it's really good in my opinion. Really like it. So if you've not checked it out yet, make sure to go to Gentleman Pursuits YouTube channel. Just search Gentleman Pursuits or go to our website to there's a link or a video on the website right now, so you can just go check it out. It's an hour long mainly, so this series mainly focus on casual everyday topics, just like a fireside chat, like a chit chat type podcast. So it's more casual this Gentleman Pursuits podcast is about watches. That Gentleman's Discourse is about general topics. So make sure to go check it out. And today I want to dive into this topic that I've been trying to learn and trying to master since day one of getting into watches, which is the watch market, the prices. It definitely is a really difficult topic for anyone to grasp, or anyone that's not really familiar with economy to try to learn about this, because this basically is economy, and I myself is not that type of person. So for me to learn this, I have to, it took quite a long time. And today I want to talk about this because I feel like this is an important thing to know, an important topic to learn if you're looking to trade watches, or if you treat watches as like an investment, then you definitely should familiarize yourself with this topic. So let's talk about why watches, why the price of watches goes up. So let's say a Rolex is releasing a limited edition watch priced at 10K. Okay, I'm saying Rolex because that's the hottest commodity right now. So let's say it's released at 10K, limited to 100 pieces. So everyone, is keeping an eye on this piece, and when it's released, there's 100 lucky winner, that was able to purchase this piece at 10K. And let's say around some time after the release date, one of the lucky owners said, oh, you know what, I don't really want this watch anymore, I want to sell it for a good price. Since this watch is limited edition, so the supply is super low and the demand is really high. So this owner can sell it for, let's say, 12K. Okay, he put the price at 12K. Someone saw it. I was like, you know what? It's a good price. I want to buy it. He bought it. So now the market price at 12K. Now, some time later, another owner wants to sell the same watch. He saw the market price was at 12K from the previous seller. And now he is listing it for 14K because he's looking to make a fortune as well. All right, so because he saw someone is willing to pay 12K for this watch, and now he's trying to, test the market out a little bit and place it at 14K. And some watch enthusiast comes along, look at the price and say, hey, 14K is just slightly above retail, and this watch is going to blow up in a few years. I think it's a good investment, so I'll pay 14K for it. And this is how, this is how the price kind of snowballs, start the snowball effect. One putting at 14K, and then next maybe 15, 16, the list goes on and on. So As time went on, more and more people know of this watch being sold above retail price, so eventually more and more buyers are willing to pay a premium to obtain that watch. They're more comfortable with the concept of the price being above retail price. And then eventually, as I said, the price snowballed into an absurd amount. But of course, the supply and demand curve includes a lot of different factors. As I said, limited edition is one of the big factors. And then there are like, material use. Maybe the material they used to make that watch is no longer available. Another thing contributing to the supply factor. Material use, maybe a certain collaboration with this designer or with this artist, so another supply thing. All these things will eventually, ultimately affect people's desire and affect the supply and demand curve. Different watch conventions such as Baselworld, Watch and Wonders, or SIHH, previously known as, will affect the watch price as well, because if they're, let's say in these watch conventions, they are going to introduce a new model. Long time ago, if a watchmaker introduces a new model, let's say a new model of Seamaster, okay, the price of the current model in the market right now will drop because people think that no one would want to wear the old version anymore. But now everyone's talking about vintage watches, vintage watch collecting. So sometimes when a new model is introduced, the old versions will go up astronomically because they know it will be discontinued, and then vintage watch lovers would want to purchase one of these to put into their collection, to expand their collection. So these will all be contributed to why watch prices go up. The same goes to why watch prices would go down. So let's say you bought a watch at MSRP. MSRP stands for manufacturer suggested retail price. So, or as you may have known, listed price, right? So you bought a Rolex for 10K again, wore it for a year, got bored, looking to sell it. If that Rolex is still being manufactured and anyone can walk into a boutique and buy it, you will be dreaming if you think you can list a price higher than the MSRP. So there you go, listing it at lower than 10K, let's say 8.5K, right? Someone sees it, buys it. Same process goes on and on until it reaches full depreciation, where no one is going to list a price lower than the existing price. So the full depreciation price for each watch is different. Some may stop at like 50% of the MSRP. Some may stop at 75. So there's like different FD price for each watch. There's no general price mark for it, but in this case, let's say the FD is at 50% of the original price, so the price went down to 5K because originally it's at 10K, and that is where people will stop offering a lower price to sell the watch. However, now this is where the magic happens, like because of the economic trend. Let's say you used to be able to purchase this Rolex watch for 10K. Let's say it's a Submariner. A Rolex Submariner used to be priced at 10K, okay? You walked into a boutique because you saw the original price online on the Rolex website saying 10K. So you have 10K, you saved up 10K. But that's not the reality though. You can't just walk into any shop, any boutique and buy a watch at retail. Unless it's first, it just came out and then you're lucky enough to be the first few thousand people to buy it at retail. You would have to pay a premium normally. Now it depends if you want to pay a premium or not. Some AD would have a higher premium, some will have a lower, so it depends how much you're willing to pay. If not, you have another option here, is to buy another diving watch at the 10K price range, because you were looking to buy a Submariner. Now you can't buy it at 10K, so you're looking for other options, other diving watch options, right? Most of the time it is this moment where people first dive into real watch, like the real world of watches, because rather than just Rolex, now is like the eye opener for people. It's like, oh, whoa, wait, there are like a lot more brands out there. Let's say an Omega or diving watch, Panerai or JLC, whatever, right? This is where you have the you kind of have to force yourself to learn the craft, because imagine buying something. Let's say you actually bought an Omega Seamaster, right? So you were supposed to, you originally had the intent to buy a Submariner. Now you settle for an Omega Seamaster. You've spent 10K on a Seamaster, and imagine buying something you don't understand, especially if the object you bought was worth 10K, right? You will have to justify your action instead of, just telling people, oh yeah, I was going to buy a Rolex, but I don't have enough money. Now you have to actually understand the watch and try to justify your purchase. And slowly, more of these occasions happens, then slowly you will realize your love for watches would increase slowly. Now, this is only true for modern watch market. Vintage watch market, there are a lot more to look for determining the value of the watch. The general economical trend and factors are similar, but let's say you have a flat 4 Submariner. A flat 4 is a nickname for this Mark 1, for this Kermit Submariner, which is the 50th anniversary watch, where the number 4 on the bezel has a flat top instead of a pointy one. And after the first release, Rolex has quickly changed the font, so the flat 4 font has only lasted for a short period of time. A normal Rolex Kermit could, right now, market price can be up to like 25K, but a flat 4 can be almost double the price. I may be wrong with the numbers, but they're all arbitrary. All I'm trying to say is that how a tiny detail like the flat 4 can cause the price to surge upwards to a crazy high amount. And another thing is that, let's say you're looking to buy this vintage Rolex, okay? If the seller who sold the vintage watch sold it with a complete box and papers, like complete set of box and papers, the price of that watch is going to be super high compared to just the watch alone, because vintage watch lovers love how, like, the more authentic the watch is, the higher the price and the more they're willing to pay, right? So if you're selling this watch with complete box and papers from that time around, then the price of the watch is going to be way higher. So there are a lot of different factors, like small details about the vintage watch market, that will affect the price in a great manner. So that's one thing to keep in mind. So watch prices can fluctuate daily, weekly, monthly, annually. Most of the time, we look at the end of year, end of year trend to look at the general pattern, how the price fluctuate. But this is just a really general guide or walkthrough to why watch prices fluctuate, like go up, go down. Good thing or bad thing, it is for you to decide. If you're looking to sell your watches, right, and the price is currently super high right now, I mean, it's good for you, right? Because you can earn more. But so it depends on your current situation, whether you're trying to buy or sell, right? So just a really general guide. But before, like, once again, before selling or buying a watch, especially vintage watch, make sure to do extensive research about the watch and about the watch market price right now, because you don't want to get undercut. You don't want to get fooled by an AD paying this absurd amount of premium just to get a watch that you could have gotten for with a lower price. So definitely do your research. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next episode.